Aloha and Tashi Tele from Kauai Tibetan Buddhist Dharma and Healing Center on the island of Kauai. This is our every Thursday night class, 6 to 8 o'clock, and it is zoomed worldwide and recorded so that people on the other side of the planet can watch it at their leisure. I'm Lama Tashi, and tonight's class is based on who and what we are, energy feeders. You know, we have Lama Rinpoche's book, The Story of All of Us Simply Said. Well, my way of simply saying it is we're simply energy feeders. We're bodies of energy walking around feeding on energy, light. These two aspects of being make up everything in the universe. So we make it simple by knowing that. And then in Tibetan Buddhism, we actually use practices that entertain that in the practices. And we do that basically two ways in shamanism. Tibetan Buddhism is actually Tibetan Lamanistic shamanism. It's really not religion, as everybody thinks of religion as how to escape the human condition and rebirth as a heavenly god or goddess, or arrive in some celestial situation in the next life. We don't do that. And the energy process that we're using is to establish a sense of well-being, but even more than that, good health. And when we say health, we're talking about holistic good health. So not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional. Well, those three, everybody can comprehend. Physical, mental, and emotional. But there's another level of good health that's actually psychic, and we call it spiritual. And spiritual good health means, yes, the first three are necessary, but without the fourth, the spiritual, then we are stuck in the emotional program of those first three, the physical, the mental, and the emotional. So the spiritual is how to alleviate the pain and suffering that goes with the physical, mental, and emotional program. So when we say we're energy feeders, we're taking care of our physical form as long as we're in it, because it's simply a husk with our present state of consciousness in it. And yes, we need to be at ease in our minds, the mental state. And yes, we are emotional. The third one is the problem. And that's where the spiritual is necessary. The first two we can improve. But without the spiritual, you cannot adequately deal with the emotional program of attachment, aversion, pride, jealousy, and ignorance. And I'll throw a sixth one in there, greed. But those are the basis of all the Tibetan Buddhist teaching. Because the methods that we are using, for instance, the method tonight, is spiritual because you have to do something that is not very much in our social program, healing physically, mentally, and emotionally with everything. And that is how to focus the mind, how to meditate. And at the same time, use the imagination, that part of your mental process, which makes connections to inner and outer sensations with pictures. So what is the spiritual process? It's an inner screen. Now, today we have screens, all kinds of screens. Cell phone screen, TV screen, computer screen, and so forth. And they're okay, but the problem is everybody is not using the most powerful of all their screens, the inner screen, their own mind. And so when we say we're energy feeders, we want to use this inner screen in a spiritual way to counteract all the distractions of the outer world. And everybody actually thinks that when they go on their screens, the cell phone, TV, computer, and so forth, that they can find out there something that'll help them spiritually to deal with the first three I mentioned, physical, mental, and emotional. But that's not possible. In fact, it'll make it worse. And I don't care who he or she is that you are connecting to or what group outside, they all have those emotional afflictions, including the one you're looking at tonight, Amatashi. Why? Because we're in a human body, because we're in the human condition, because we're interconnected to everybody and everything universally and temporally, which means from past lives to this life to future life. But universally is more than the temporal, it's also spatial. And that spatial dimension applies two ways. One, elemental. For instance, we have earth, water, fire, air, and space. So that's an elemental application. But in order to deal with the emotional program, this spatial program is the most beneficial. Why? Because it's actually an aspect of your consciousness already innate in your mind. And you can go there. You know, you have space in your body. I mean, you have the earth, water, fire, and air keeping you alive. But that's all the particle, or what we call the atomic, or the integration process of light itself. And space is a great part of our body. In fact, it's 99.9% of our body. The light aspect, which we call the particle or atom level, all of that could fit on the pinpoint, the point of the pin. That's how much it really is to form. But taking all that into consideration, when we do these practices tonight, the spiritual aspect is the element which we use in meditation for healing the physical with what we call the outer application, the subject itself. The dealing with the cause of the pain and suffering is the spiritual one, and that'll be the second part of our practice tonight. And tonight we're going to do the red Tara with what is called, she's called the Fire Mother, Tumo in Tibetan, with the breathing practice using the imagination and the focus. But we're going to base it on that elemental aspect of our being, fire itself, or heat, or radiation, however you want to think of that, like the sun. So we're going to start tonight with the refuge, which is necessary in Tibetan Buddhism, because you must understand that all of these practices that we are doing is for everybody else, because we know that everything is interconnected to us. So if we're doing it for everybody else, of course, yourself is included. So we start with that, and I'll read it in English, and then we'll say it in the six refuges, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, loving deity, and protector in English. And then we'll say the Bodhisattva prayer, which includes the six disciplines of this path of the Bodhisattva. In order to attain enlightenment for ourselves and limitless sentient beings, our Mother, we now all together take refuge and offer prostration. We go for refuge to all the glorious Holy One. We go for refuge to all the yidams, which are the deities gathered in our mandala. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered the mind and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all this supreme Dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble Sangha. And we go for refuge to all the Dakas and Dakinis, who are the protectors and defenders of the Dharma. All of these possessing the eye and transcending learning. To the Buddha, Dharma, and this supreme assembly, we go for refuge. May I, through merit gained from practicing the six Bodhisattva disciplines, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. I'm going to chant the altruistic motivation, and then we'll, in Sanskrit, then we'll say the refuge prayer and the Bodhisattva prayer together in Sanskrit. Dadam Jovanamde Dadam Yamde Shancham Tamde Dudine Junte Jisi Jenju Nengbo Lachi Divari. In the refuge. Dalden Mahadampa Namam Chatsu Shriyo Niram Choko Givatso Nama Chatsu Shriyo Vanje Chogende Nama Chatsu Shriyo Dante Chur Nama Chatsu Shriyo Bhave Gendum Namam Chatsu Shriyo Bhavo Kanjo Chokyum Sume So Eshe Ki Shendam Dempa Namam Chatsu Shriyo Vanje Chodam Chonki Choknam Vanje Chu Ardu Dagni Chatsu Chi Dagi Jinso Jipe Sonam Ki Jola Benzer Vanje Juman Sho. Using the altruistic motivation is unique to Tibetan Buddhist in practice. And it is called Mahayana Buddhism. And yes, there are other traditions that practice Mahayana, and they are effective. They can bring a person to realize the true nature of their consciousness, which we call in our lineage Mahamudra, which is simply a state of spatial awareness that is timeless. And it can be done on an individual basis or with the help of the teacher, either way. But without the methods of purifying the emotional tendency, it would take many, many lifetimes to perfect, to reach maturity in the human condition. And the reason I say human condition, because only humans can do this. when you leave this body and go into the next life of the spirit world, those beings, sentient beings, which exist in our universe, along with us, they can't do that. They can't do this. They don't have choice. When you go into the next life, you don't have any choice. If you didn't establish the choice that's available to you in this life, it's not going to be there in the next life. And what does that mean? It means that the emotional program that you've established in many, many lifetimes, including this one, are the boss. They're running your movie. And the real you that wants to be free of that kind of programming, this emotional, can't do that in the spirit world. Not possible. Not in the heavenly realms, and absolutely not in the animal world, or the hell realms, or the deprived ghost realms, or the war god realms we call demigod, and especially in the celestial realm. And why not? Because the emotional program has the power. You've given this idea of a self with the subject and the object and the activity going on between that dichotomy, this and that existing separately, the power. And that causes all this emotional confliction, the best word. I call it distortion. And it's universal. So where do you start? Because if everybody's that way, if everybody thinks, well, that's the only way you can be. That's not true. We have choice. We don't have to judge everything good and bad. And that's where the trouble starts. Judgment. And all the religions are based on judgment, including Buddhism. Theravada Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism, and other traditions. But in the Kagyu tradition, or we call it the Mahayana tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, the whole program is about eliminating judgment. The idea of thinking things are good and bad, because they don't exist that way. The universe doesn't do it to you. Why do you do it back to it? If the universe thought you were bad, it'd annihilate you, because it could do that. It either kills you or it keeps you alive and healthy. You know, but it's not working that way. And that's the true nature of your consciousness. And if you get that, you and the universe are in sync. Then when you leave this body in the next life, it's still the same universe. It's just a different set of physics. You know, this one's dense and solid, and everybody thinks permanent, which it is not. This conditioned existence is always changing. Are you with me? When you take birth, you know you're going to die, so that's in the program, because the cause of death is taking birth. Okay, and then you got this sickness and other painful things going on between those two, the act of taking birth and then the leaving the body, we say, called death, which is, there is no such thing as death. In reality, the body dies, yeah. Everything's impermanent, yes, but your consciousness is not. And so spiritually, conditioned existence is a no-no. It's unfavorable. And so we have an antidote for that. It's called favorable existence. And we have a code for that. Now, this code thing is how you got your computers, your cell phone, and your TV. Codes, okay? They're called bandwidth, or however you want to do that, logarithms, all kinds of words. But it's just the energy of light pervading our area of space. And it carries a lot of power. But in your mind, it's the same thing. So when you move into this other aspect of your consciousness, it's unconditional. It never changes. Oh. Instead of it's conditional, it's always changing. There's no birth, sickness, or death. there. There's no emotional conflict because there's no judgment. So if you want to know what the other nature of your mind is, it's non-judgmental mind. Except that you really don't have a mind. That doesn't compute. That's like saying you don't have a screen. See? But the mind is what the religions call the soul. Okay? But the mind itself is a program. And so if you say body, speech, and mind, that's the program, okay, of the mind. But if you're very still, not talking, not moving, and not judging your thoughts as they arise or your body sensations, then there's no mind. There's no thought. I mean, not the thoughts that the way we think conditionally, judgmentally. And how do you get a handle on that and say, as soon as the thoughts arise, you judge it. You reprogrammed your thinking. It's habitual because you've been doing that for thousands of lifetimes. Actually, uncountable. All over this universe. You've been everything that exists. Millions and millions of times. Well, that blows you right out of it. Conceptual mind right there. But the simple part of it is if there's no judgment as the thought arises, you're free. So I'll give you an example. Abby wakes me up at 12 o'clock at night. Okay? And she's not comfortable in her body for whatever reason, thought and this is going on, dreams or something. And she says, I can't sleep. So I say, well, stop thinking. Oh, I can't do that. So I said, well, then don't judge your thoughts. And she says, huh? I said, yeah, you're awake now. Don't judge your thoughts. See what happens. Just lay there, be still. I mean, you're not going to be saying anything. Your body's relaxed. Just don't judge your thoughts. See what happens. And after a while, she said, oh, I feel better. I says, well, what is the ultimate symbol of healing that we use? And she says, well, home. I said, you know, we do all about home. He says, put a home in your heart and see what happens. Just visualize a home in your heart. You're not judging your thoughts, but we got to go to the spiritual level of this. That's okay on the ultimate, relative level. But the spiritual level is to put a symbol, imagination, power, focus. That's spirituality. That's contemplation, meditation. So she did that. Guess what? She went to sleep. And so then I can go back to sleep. I really don't sleep. You know, I mean, like ordinary people sleep. Yes, I sleep. Yes, I close my eyes. Yes, I have things that I do in the sleep state, in the dream state. Yeah, spiritual practice. And I practice during the daytime. Now they're working at night, so something else is going on. So that when something is going on that's not harmonious at the nighttime, I'm awake. In a snap of a finger. It's really weird. But what it is simply a state of awareness developed through spiritual practice. So we're going to do that. Now, when you do the spiritual practices, we have to start with symbols and meditation using those symbols, which are the same kind of algorithms or codes that are used for all the outer screens. And they're based on numbers, colors, and geometric form. And then those basic codes evolve into the physical aspects of how we appear as human beings. So, the whole program tonight is based on energy. Now, this kind of energy has been around in the human condition for thousands and thousands of years. And it's called fire. But it's been around for billions of years with the sun, which is the cause of life in this solar system. And the cause of the solar system being what it is, a life support system for us humans. So, fire. Now, the symbol we use for fire isn't separate from the earth, which we use as yellow cube, the water, which we use a blue sphere, the air, which we use a half green sphere, and space, which we use a white sphere, similar to a blue sphere. But this one is the warmth. This one is your heat of your body. This is the loving kindness of your mind, okay, which creates warmth. Because your mind is doing a lot of things to this body. So we're going to start with this. And when you practice these 5 elements practice, you have to use the breath. And you don't use the same exact code that we use for the spiritual aspect of using this aspect of fire called radiation, which we're going to do in the next part of the class. So there's 2 parts to the class. So you sit with your back straight, your eyes slightly open, gaze to the space directly in front of your eyes, kind of maybe arm's length in front, not too close and not to an object, just in between. You don't do it like Zen, looking at a wall or something. Hands in a comfortable position, mouth closed, head slightly tilted forward, and bring your focus to your breath. To start with, just the in and out of the breath, the inhale and the exhale. The next step is to bring in the code to accomplish the energy of the breath to increase what we call the available prana, the chi of the element. I mean, they're already there, but with this technique, you increase the energy, the feeding of the chi. And it's very simple. You simply use your imagination, keeping your focus on the breath. You visualize the air, which includes all 5 elements, coming in as white light filling your lungs. The energy of that spontaneously being passed through your body, you visualize that as a flash of red light going through every cell in your body. Then these 2 together, the white and the red, exhale as blue light out the nose as a healing breath to space. A powerful exhale of prana or chi. Inhale white light, fill your lungs. Absorption breath of red light through the body. These 2 together out the nose is blue light to space, like the sky. It comes from space. It fills the space of your body and is returned powerfully to where it came from. It's shared. This is a great part of our commitment in shamanistic practice. When you practice this breath in its simplicity with these three codes, white, red, and blue, not only formally like we're doing now, but integrated into your worldly activities with others. In this prana yoga practice, this energy breathing practice, is now extended to the 5 elemental healing practice. And as I mentioned, we're going to use the fire, the radiation, which is all around us and in actuality is in everything that we see or sense. To do that, you collect the 3 lights. At the same moment, take your focus off the breathing. Collecting the 3 lights, with your imagination, bring them into a particle of light centered in the area of the heart chakra, which is in the central energy channel in the middle of your chest. It's actually an area in between the lungs. And focusing on that particle, you connect spontaneously to the radiation or light that exists throughout boundless space, the fabric of space. And it's a beyond conceptual code. So you can relax for a few moments in what translates in Tibetan as basic space, where there really is no center or boundary, just a natural state of consciousness and the universe together, in harmony. What the word universe means. Very still, very peaceful. Relax. But we don't fixate on that. We use that as a platform to move into the healing energy of the elemental nature of the universe itself. So to do that, you focus on the particle in your heart center and visualize it to grow into a tiny sphere of clear light. entering into the nature of this third dimensional world we exist in, mindfully. Then we visualize that small sphere to grow, expand until it creates a red four-sided pyramid about the size of your thumbnail in the center of your heart chakra as a healing code, and we label it fire, radiation. Then expand it in size till it completely, imagine it to grow till it moves out in front of the body and up before your eye. Then expand it with your imagination till you can see your physical form sitting inside, just as you are, like a beautiful four-sided tent made of light, as large as you like. And the full healing energy of the elemental nature of the universe into your physical situation. A homemade sauna. In keeping mind and focus together, you share this energy with your world around you by expanding it in size to completely enclose the island or town or area where you live inside. Imagine it to grow in size to completely enclose Mother Earth, including her atmosphere. Imagine it to grow in size to completely enclose the solar system, which is what the sun does for billions of miles in every direction. The life support of radiation. Then expand it to completely enclose our spiral disc-shaped galaxy. And then again, move beyond the conceptual mind into the infinite, boundless nature of space. Merge it with boundless space. Relax. Simply be present and contemplate space. Even the color doesn't exist in this dimension. Whatever arises is the same nature, whether it be from your consciousness as thoughts, or from your body as sensation. Then reinvent the four-sided red pyramid to again envelop our galaxy. Reduce it in size to just closing our solar system. Keep your meditation and focus together. Reduce it to just enclosing Mother Earth. Which actually exists that way as our radiation field generated by the Earth itself in combination with the sun's energy. Reduce it in size to just enclosing this island or the area where you live. Then very much smaller to just seeing your physical form inside, collecting all the life force energy with the elemental nature of everything into your situation. It changes all the secretions that normal thinking causes to go through your body. It purifies them. Then bring it back to its original small size, arm's length in front of your eyes. Bring it to chest level and into your heart chakra, your heart mind. Shrink it down to a small sphere of clear light. And from that to a tiny particle light merging with the infinite light of boundless space. Then relax. No judgment, no meditation, no thinking or thoughts necessary. Just relax, be present. Contemplate space. This aspect of consciousness that you are entertaining at this point applies to everything. It is called voidness. To end your practice, bring your awareness to in front of your eyes, set it into your place of practice, and dedicate the virtue of this practice to everyone. That makes it spiritual. Now, somebody asked, why don't we apply the color code of the Om Ahum to the elemental practice of the Prana Yoga 3 lights in union with the 5 Om? And that's because we want to keep it available to people that aren't spiritual, but at the same time want to be something more than they are and have the power to focus and meditate. So this is a very good training program. You're focusing on the 3 lights with your breath. What is the breath? That's your life support. You don't breathe, you don't live. in a body anyway. Okay? So it's a very basic necessity. But you want to empower the breathing in such a way that it enhances the physical, mental, emotional program of what the mind does to the body. Okay? Then we want to move beyond that reality, that method, which is symptomatic, is the best way to put it. It doesn't treat the cause. It doesn't deal with the emotional program. People do that. They still have, well, I don't like this and I like that. And I'm very much greater than everybody else. So let's screw them. Or I'm inferior, so I think I'll kill myself. Yeah. I don't know anything, so I'm stupid. Be like that kind of thing. So I never get enough. That's where the greed factor comes. Never satisfied. More, which leads to all forms of abuse. So now we introduce the code of Tibetan Buddhist transmission, which is started with Shakyamuni Buddha 2,600 years ago and evolved down through India, which was a mess with what they call the Hinayana Hindu tradition, with the caste system and so forth, into Tibet, which was a mess because of its dire consequences of living in such, well, not very supportive environment, best way to put it. And at the same time, needing to kill animals and humans perpetuate spirits so that they could get their barley crop. It's a very simple way of putting what was going on in Tibet. Then you mix that with the war that was going on with the Genghis Khan idea of taking everything and killing everybody in the process of taking everything, and etc. So they needed to have some way to alleviate those problems, those harmful situations, and then at the same time evolve spiritually. So the transmission was with these three sounds. The Om, which is used in other traditions, is basically the sound of radiation itself, the elemental life support of light. The Ah is the combination of the elemental energies, including space, applied physically, mentally, emotionally, and now what we're going to do spiritually. But most importantly, it's a vibrational energy of what exists in sound as vibration. So yes, you can see, smell, taste, touch, and feel, but each of the things that you're seeing, smelling, smell, tasting, and touching, they vibrate. They have a vibratory code. You can hear it. Yeah. Our screens do that. Do the images on the screen exist? No. But there's sound coming out of the images. That's a two-dimensional energy. That's a virtual, they call virtual, which means non-existent but existing. So this is the sound of the patterning of your body when you express it in our spiritual practice of using the speech with mantra. Mantra is an aspect of the vibration using your voice. So that's the Ah. And that is the sound of all the energy in the whole universe. It's not supernatural, it's just the way the universe is. And scientists agree with it. Okay. In fact, they've even mapped the whole universe and the sound of each part of the universe, which actually somehow correlates with the 88 keys on the piano. I don't get that one, but they say it does. Then down to the home. So when you take this one, the home, the energy as it's coming in, the Ah as it's doing something, you put those together, then you have the home. Now the home is a universal applied symbol that can be symptomatic or causal in dealing with emotional programs. And that's why it was so effective. Yes, as I mentioned. Abby wake me up in the middle of the night. And they work. And it's simple. And it also is the seesaw of what sums up all Tibetan Buddhist shamanism is medicine Buddha. Now, the medicine Buddha is a code, healing code. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual healing code. And it works on all levels, both symptomatically and causally. Symptomatically means symptom. Am I saying that right?
Symptomatically.
Symptomatically, you can interconnect it to any kind of modality used for healing. And I'll give it a few: acupuncture, acupressure, herbology, psychiatric, psychological, all of that. That's all symptomatic medicine, which is what all the medicine of the planet. And some of it's very effective, and some of it's just a bunch of superstitious bullshit. But the home in Tibetan Buddhism is a causal also. And how it works structured in using the idea of the medicine Buddha, all-pervasive application for all the spirits, all the animals, and all the humans in the entire universe, which is a pretty big spread, is the simplicity of it in 8 different ways, dealing with the emotional effects that cause pain and suffering, or dis-ease, or sickness, or dying, or death of the body. But how about war, famine, disease, poverty, environmental destruction, and the spread of toxins, and all the other stuff that we're doing, what they call the dark nature. So the home has 8 applications. You take all the emotional programs, put it into the categories. First of all, attachment. Then aversion. Then jealousy. Then pride. Okay, so there's 4 categories. So those are all caused by judgment. But the basis of those is ignorance, not knowing that everything is interconnected to you, and this whole movie is a light show. This is an illusion, and we're deluded because we believe it to be real, and we emotionally react with a subject-object dichotomy to that illusion. It's the same way as you're driving down the highway and you see water in the road. Okay? And you get there and there's no water. That's illusion. But you were deluded in the first place to think that there was water. That's called ignorance. But it gets worse than that. And each of those other 4 that I mentioned, they also expand in their own power. So if you have attachment, after a while it becomes desire. After a while, desire becomes lust. After a while, lust becomes greed, and you're screwed. If you have aversion, then then you have anger, hatred, rage, and so forth. If you have jealousy, then you have coveting and all the things that think that you're inferior, like anxiety and depression and suicide and so on. Or fear of self, which is a big one. If you think you're better than anybody else, or there's such thing as supernatural, which is not true. There's nothing beyond nature. Nature doesn't work that way. Then arrogance arises. I don't care how you apply this arrogance thing, but if you look at the politicians running the planet today, it's called aggrandizement. And Hollywood, movie stars. They need to be adored. Aggrandizement. Yeah. Give me a break. You know? We don't do that. We don't adore anything. It doesn't work. So that's pride, arrogance. So when you have these, it's all based on ignorance. And there's 3 more categories. The body, speech, and mind itself have their own power. And each of these are extreme in their power. They can be very harmful or very helpful. And it's because of the emotional confliction attached to the body, speech, and mind. So we have what's absolutely necessary in Tibetan Buddhism is called loving kindness. The same way humans and animals are loving kindness in their own children. Loving kindness. And that evolves into altruistic compassion, which means everybody needs that, which is the concern for the well-being of everybody, but including the environment. Because if you don't include the environment, we become extinct, which is what's happening to the planet right now. And so I'm explaining this in a way to make sense with the spiritual application. Because each of those 5 codes of emotionality have their own antidote. That's where we get the 5, what we call Dhyana Buddhas. And that color code comes in with the 5 elements. Now, each of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas is not something made up. If you have anger, anger is so powerful it carries its own remedy that causes the anger. And that's just thinking everything is separate. And this idea of separation is what all the religions of the world are based on, because everybody's got better than everybody else's God, or God, which leads to war. Oh. The remedy is there's no such thing as separation. That's the antidote. Oh, that's simple. That's a Buddha field. And you know that's real because it works in families, friends, business, and so forth. Growing food, gardening, everything. Manufacturing, art, every social program. If it's not interconnected, it's doomed. The second one is jealousy. Jealousy means inferiority. Inferiority means that, no, everything's equal. The antidote to that is you set up auspicious circumstances that people can progress spiritually to counteract their emotional crap, which is what we do in Tibetan Buddhism. We have Dharma centers, we have stupas, we have the Dalai Lama, and so forth. And all these healing programs, this is it. Then we get down to stupidity, ability, bewilderment, and ignorance. Well, that's easy. It carries this antidote because the clear of emotionality, clear of judgment is the antidote. But understanding how to apply that has to be in the program too. So that's this one. That's this white screen. Then we go to the arrogance is an unbelievable absence of equality. Look at the gender problem in our society, the United States and Canada. The women are screaming for the same pay. They're screaming. They're coming out of the closet. They want to be equal. They're in the streets. They're taking over the politics. Churches, everything. It's about time, by the way. You know, the patriarchy doesn't work. Can't work on its own. And any kind of religion, political or otherwise, that works that way is doomed. You know? Won't go too much of that one because now we're crossing boundaries. And finally, we get down to the antidote to attachment, desire, and lust, which has created 8 billion humans that are running amok, creating billions of more humans. What is the antidote? Discern that that's not workable. Discipline. Discern that the other nature of your mind, where the judgment call doesn't exist, is where you want to be. And develop that. Now say, let's practice. 5 elements, 5 antidotes to come. Oh, and the body, speech, and mind one. Chenrei Z. Homani Pimi Hum. Everybody in the environment. Non-juicery, so that you know things without having people to condition you into thinking that their way is the way you should think. And finally, power itself. Take those two and structure it into something that applies to the spirit world and not just to the animal and human world. And that's called Vajrapani. And it's simply a code you put in your mind. Yeah.
What are his symbols? The symbols of Vajrapani, what's he holding?
Dorji and bell.
Does he have is he 2 armed or 6 armed?
2 armed. Oh, very simple. Vajrapani. Dancing on your own body, whatever kind of body you have, a human body. Vajrapani dancing on you in your physical form. Naked with skulls and all kinds of terrible looking. In a sun, not in a moon. Moon is for the peaceful people. Vajrapani comes out of the sun. Radiation itself, blasting. See? Up on the upper right, right above Chenrezi, is a deity. Over here, the bottom, all around that Lama, deity. There's the 5 elements. Abby put up a deity here on the wall today. It works. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Abby. Because she found out from another Lama somewhere on the planet that this thing is useful for some problems that we have right here in our little Dharma center. Okay. And
it dispels harmful non-human.
Yeah, because non-humans like us. We're light. And they come in here and they mess with us. They mess with our garden and our poor little dog, Ringo. He's innocent. Non-human. So we had to deal with him, so we do. But what is this Vajra and bell? This is the sign of the feminine. This is the sign of the masculine. This is the method, and this is how you apply with the universe, which is the feminine. Okay? The 5 elements are coming. They're the 5 Tara. Earth, water, fire, and air, space. Spiritual. Keep it in the mother mode. This is the 5 elements in the vibratory sound, or the energy. Night. Make night. Serve tea. That's what Lama mentioned. So these 5 elements, this Vajra has 5 spokes on either end. There's your minds merging the two, is exactly how the Lamas designed this chart for us in the 90s, so that we can understand. So applying these medicinal methods, of which there are thousands in Tibetan Buddhism, not to drive you up the wall if you're not scholarly, and I'm not scholarly, is the application. Just like you have a cell phone. Now you can buy infinite apps for your cell phone. In fact, they have app school. I saw this on YouTube. So we have the same thing. But these 5 come together and then merge with the various no, the Lamas usually. The Vajrapani has these 2. They're just symbolic ritual instruments which are used for special practice. This is what we're going to do now. Tara. The code of Tara is the air element, prana. Look at all these symbols. Okay? And all these 5 symbols, earth, water, fire, air, and space, all come into the vibratory energy with this sound, tom, the same way the 5 applications that deal causally with emotions enter into the bell, the vibratory sound, or how everything is energetically integrated. So we start with this sound, looks like a letter 5 with a dot on it. We give it the green color code of prana, air. Okay? But we understand that it's all 5 in 1, just like we did with the breath. And we put our mantra around it, Om Tara Chutare Chure Soha, which Om is the light itself coming in. The Tara is the power of this motherly application of loving kindness and altruistic compassion. And the rest of the mantra is swiftly removing the causes of pain and suffering, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Couldn't be simpler. And then swaha, the swaha in Sanskrit, means for everyone. Not just for Hinduism, me, I mean mine, you know, everybody, every Ringo. Sorry to wake you. So we're going to do the back. Back straight, hands on your knees. Breathe. Same 3 light prana yoga practice we did with the 5 elements, only we're going to add the code of 3 energy fields. Om, the clarity of light itself, the life support of radiation. Ah, the energy applied 5 different ways together with the vibratory effect. And home, to everyone and to our environment. All the animals, all the humans, and all the spirits. Breathe. Inhale white light, hear the sound Om. Absorption energy passing through every cell in your body, hear the sound Ah. These 2 combined out the nose, the powerful breath of the causal and antidotal healing of the sound Boom. Applied universally to the 4 worlds of the spirits and wherever animals and humans take birth on planet. Boom. And if you want to know the power of the home, that's Vajrapani, who controls the entire spirit world. Then to establish these 3 energy fields, or Buddha fields, sound them with your voice. Turn them into mantric sound. And think as you chant these, mother, father, friends, relatives, everyone, especially on this planet, every animal, human, and spirit, gets it. And as you chant this, think the Om is your body energy, the Ah is your speech energy, and the Hum is the effect. The altruistic totality, universally applied. Inhale. Om. This time chant it and think all of that everyone did. Inhale, chant Om. Om. Then do the Ah, which is the power of the energy pervading your body's patterning coming out as vibratory mantric sound. Inhale. Into everyone, no separation. Inhale. Then these two combine to the total healing effect, symptomatically and causally, body, speech, and mind, and all emotional energy cleared completely of dis-ease. Inhale, chant Om. Then throughout space, inhale. Om. Now bring these three sounds together inside your body and imagine a white home in your head, a red ah in your throat, and a blue home in your heart center. Each one in its own sphere of healing energy. White, red, blue, or dark blue. Then visualize the Lama in front. From the Lama's forehead, white light comes into your forehead, empowering you to be the rainbow body of Tara. From the Lama's throat, red light comes into your throat, empowering you to use the mantric speech of the mantra of the five elemental Tara, coded with the sound tom and so forth. And then from the blue horn in the Lama's heart center into your heart activates the wisdom connection that there is no such thing as separation, and all of this is like a rainbow in the sky, completely elusive. And with that, you take on your situation as it is karmically every moment of every day. Then the Lama melts into light into you, and this becomes the fourth empowerment, and you become the green Tara, with the green tom in your heart center, and the 10-letter code of the mantra surrounding it, Om Tara, Tutare, Ture Soha. And as you sound that with your voice, you visualize you as the rainbow body of Tara, your mother in front as Tara, all the humans everywhere and animals as Tara, and then throughout space, all the spirit beings, the four categories of spirit as Tara. And you do this while sounding the mantra. Whatever you are doing, everybody else is equally doing the same thing. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Re So Ha. 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 Having established yourself as the lineage green Tara, then you move to the color code of the spiritual application of the radiation fire Tara. You change the seed solvent tone to the seed solvent wrong. It's colored in red. You change your rainbow body of the two-armed Tara to red Tara. And you visualize Mother sentient beings, all the animals, humans, spirits in the universe, as the same Bodhisattva symbol. The aspect of the radiation is the theme of this practice. And we're going to extend it to the breath and the healing mode the same way, almost the same way we did the three lights. But first we established the red Tara as our mandala. And she is sitting on a moon disk, a sun disk, and a 32-petal lotus in space. So you see that as yourself first. Chant the mantra. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So Ha. 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 Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So Ha.
Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So.
Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So Ha. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So Ha. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So Ha. Then project it to your mother and all mother sentient beings as red Tara. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So Ha. 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 Om Tara Chare Chare Om So Om Tara Chare Chare Om So Then we start the Tumo breathing practice, which is simply to take the energy of the fire element as red Tara, all sentient beings are fire, and place the Ram in a small sphere of red light. So you move it from your heart chakra down to your sac chakra. From this point, the energy will rise up the central channel of your life force to the earth chakra, which is your navel, the space chakra, which is your heart. These two interconnect. The air chakra, which is your throat, green, and the water chakra, which is your head. And you're going to bring the fire energy up the central channel to each of these chakras, then into a sphere of white light symbolizing space right above the top of your head. So do that while you hold your breath. Inhale, hold your breath, chant Ram, and as you do, the energy comes up into each of these chakra centers and enters into space and disappears. And every Tara in your mandala sing. Inhale. When it gets to space, it stays there. Exhale. Now we're going to do this again, only this time when it gets to space, it returns down into the head, throat, heart, navel, and again enters the sex chakra. And you exhale at that point. Inhale. Now what we've done is connected the energy of this chakra to each of the elemental energies of these interior chakra points. In connecting to space, that becomes a universal application to all the Taras in our mandala doing the same thing we are, and then all together re-enter and energize each of these 5 chakras and back to the basic set chakra. Now the Ram is in a small sphere of light. To help you with the breathing, when you inhale, wrap your fingers around your thumb. Have your palms resting on your knee. So inhale, and we go through the whole visualization that when you exhale, the fingers extend. Inhale. And I'm going to sound the chakras with the element. Ram, navel, Ram, heart, Ram, throat, Yam, head, space, in return into the head, throat, yum, heart, navel, back to the sex chakra, exhale. Now this time you as Red Tara, all that energy moving out from each of these energy points throughout thousands of channels of prana energy throughout your body, to your toes, fingertips, even hair, everything, energized. Inhale. Visualize the Ram as a tiny sphere of sex chakra, rising up the central channel. Ram, say it with me. Ram, Ram, heart, Ram, throat, Ram, head, Ram, into voidness or space above the head. Ram.
So we don't hold our breath.
Huh?
We don't hold our breath. We sound the syllables.
Yeah, well, this time we're just sounding. Don't hold your breath.
Okay.
And chant with me. Inhale. Visualize the Ram into sex chakra. Ram. Gold light at the navel chakra. Ram. White light at the heart. Ram. Green light at the throat. Ram. Blue light at the head. Ram. Into space or voidness above the head. Then back down into the head. Blue, green, white, gold, Now you've activated the elemental energies by sound and visualization. Now we're just going to run the dot, holding the breath, up the central channel, into space, and then back down to the sex chakra and exhale. No other visualization, just up the central channel and back down. And use your fingers around the thumbs when you hold your breath.
Is it red going down as well?
Red going up and red coming down. Okay? Inhale. And you're a Red Tara and everybody's Red Tara doing the same thing you are. Inhale. When you get back down to the sex chakra, exhale. Each at your own speed. Now this time we're going to do the same thing, only hold your breath as long as you can. But keep your rainbow body as Tara and your connection, interior connection into space with just the Ram going up, merging with space, and then those two energies back down and ending at the sex chakra. Then back up. Keep doing it as long as you can, up and down. Hold your breath. When you can't do it anymore, end at the sex chakra. Inhale. best. Now what's happening is you're bringing the energy of the 5 elements up through your body, then that spreads all through your body as you do that. If you can visualize or feel that, good. If you can't, it's okay. Then you're taking the voidness of space itself, merging it with those elemental energies, and bringing it back down into each chakra energy center, ending at the sex chakra. And if you're still holding your breath, again, ascend, actualize the rainbow body of the deity, then bring the voidness aspect down with the fire energy and end at the sex chakra. And all the beings in your mandala doing exactly the same thing. But this is not just for you. Inhale. When you exhale, relax. And we're going to add what's called the dhyana aspect to it, which means when you come back down this time, instead of the spot of red coming down through the chakras, think that 5 colors or drops are coming, like mist, into each chakra as it comes back down. Then it all forms into the Ram, comes up as that one seed syllable through the chakras, into the space, then from space, the 5, we call the 5 drops, mist of the 5 dhyana Buddhas, comes down into each chakra energy. When it gets to the sex chakra, reforms into the Ram. Visualize like that. Inhale. Great.
But it was just getting good.
Did you get to this?
Yeah,
Huh?
that was the fun part.
I don't want you to get too attached. So what's the effect? What are you doing? What kind of effect? Did you heat up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, but you can have it.
Bliss.
The mist effect.
Bliss effect.
The mist is the bliss. Okay, so there's 3 parts. There's 3 things that are occurring. They're called the quality. first one is the energy program of light itself. The color codes of these elemental energies as whatever appears, light. In Tibetan Buddhism, the whole program starts with red tar. You don't care what deity you do, especially when you do the protector deity, or dakinis, or connect to lamas like Baba Zimbabwe or the Dalai Lama, powerful lama. You want to be the red Tara first, or the dakini of red tar, which is, and we put that one up there. We have one in the hallway. Bring me that one. Okay, why do we use the red tar? Because light is what everything appears in. Everything. I don't care if you go microscopically or telescopically. You know, this is where this dakini is the whole program of the universe. You know, you got the space dakini, which is an application of voidness. But this one is the red Tara in her power mode. And when we do the Tumo practice in retreats, this is the one we use, but we base it on the peaceful deity. Okay, because if you don't have the peaceful deity and the compassion, power, and insight that goes with that, you won't have it with this. And so everybody wants to get the protector practices right away. Well, you got to have a foundation that is just very effective. You're being Hindu about it, you know? You're doing rainbow body as if it was real. It's not. This is more about loving kindness and compassion than it is about power and insight and bliss. Oh. I mean, if you go to India, there's not much loving kindness and compassion. I mean, forget it. Okay? That's why I don't go to India. You know, all right, Lamas, you want to come here? Come here. Mm-hmm. And this is day watch in. Now I want to take this day watch in and apply it to India. Okay? And how do you do that? Then the deity extends to all the people on the planet, all the animals on the planet, all the spirits on the planet and everywhere in the universe. So these 5 Taras are these 5 symbols. But the application is a little more powerful. Bliss, insight, power of compassion and loving kindness. And the power over the judgment of mind. Very heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy. Now we're going to do the red Tara practice connecting to the energy of infinite light, which comes from the Buddha Amitabha, which is the antidote. Using discerning awareness, that infinite light applied in space is more powerful than the drama mind of judgment of the emotional program we've established. And more you move out of the drama field into this energy field of light itself. That's what's called enlightenment. And the reason you do that is it's infinitely more powerful to produce what you want. It's called the wish fulfillment jewel. So we're going to do that with the Tara. And this Tumo practice, the way I structured it tonight, there's no wrong way to do it. I mean, if you're red Tara and you're connecting your elemental energy to these 5 energy chakra centers and establishing that the rainbow body acid, this illusory body program, is the antidote to everything, then that's what the mandala is for. So we're going to do the mandala. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram Hri So. That's the mantra. In the Ram and the Hri, above your head you have the Buddha Amitabha, red in color. He's the symbol of infinite light. In your red Tara, then in your mandala, all the beings in your mandala the same. And then we're going to do the long life practice using the Amitabha Buddha at the end of the practice. So keep the Ram in your heart center, be red Tara, all beings in the mandala red Tara. And the Buddha Amitabha above your head is the Hri, discerning awareness of everything is light. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram Hri So. 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 Om Tara Tu Tara Ram Hri So. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu 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 Ram Hri So. Now we're going to do the long life practice that goes with this red Tara. So the Buddha Amitabha is visualized above your head with a bowl of nectar. His two hands are like this, and the bowl is in his hand. And it's full of the bliss, compassion, and power of the radiation of light itself. It goes to everyone in the universe. And for you, the earth, water, fire, and air Tara is, earth is on your right side, the water is in front, the air is on your left, and the fire is behind you. Then each of these have a base. And the bliss energy of the Buddha's infinite light comes out into their four bases, and then the bases overfill into the crown of your head, and your body from the top down fills with the healing nectar of bliss energy and compassion. We say insight, compassion, and bliss. And as this takes place, you sound the mantra of the Tara with the Ram and the Free. So this is that all sentient beings get the same energy program as you. So like you getting every spirit, animal, and human in the universe same. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram Tu So. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram Tu So. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram Tu So. So your Tara is like an empty vessel of light. And it fills up with the healing energy of earth, water, fire, and air from the top down. And it goes to every cell, every naughty light energy channel in your body. As Tara. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So. 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 This is the causal cure to all emotional affliction. That's word. Purifying. Throughout your physical situation, and every being in the universe receiving the same healing energy. Om Tara Tu Tara Tu Ram So. 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 And since there's no such thing in this universe as separation, now you visualize the Buddha Amitabha above your head, moving down the central channel into your heart chakra. Then you visualize the same for all sentient beings in your mandala simultaneously. Then they all implode into you. You are the central figure with the Buddha Amitabha in your heart center. So they all merge into you from every direction, either in the snap of the finger or gradually. It's up to you. All of the spirits is Tara, all the infinite animals is Tara, all the humans. Then you as the central figure, red Tara, disappear into and the mantra disappear into the Buddha in your heart center. Then the Buddha disappears into the free. The free and a five-color blaze of radiant light, like a supernova, merges with space. No meditation. Simply be present. In the timeless moment, present moment. Thoughts arise, don't judge, don't connect. Body sensations arise, don't attach. In this way, your dimension of being becomes your home with no boundary and no center. The infinite womb of the infinite mother of spatial awareness. Om Jare Tu Jare Tu Re Sa. Om Jare Tu Jare Tu Re Sa. Om Jare Tu to Om Jai Om Jai Om body. Speech. Mind. We start with refuge. We purify with mantra, mandala, and meditation. We connect to the body, speech, and mind of the teacher as all of the mandalas of these practices. We rejoice in the teacher's and all beings' virtuous activity. We request the teachers to stay and turn the Dharma wheel, teach these practices. And beseech the teacher not to pass into states of nirvanic bliss, but stay in this world. And finally, we dedicate the merit that all sentient beings attain the state of Mahamudra enlightenment in full maturity as Buddha. Ewa di nirdu na chalya champo trudu ne roa chinkin mahu pa e sawa kuparsha sanjay kusum denpai jimla dam shoni mego denpai jimla dam hindu niche denpai jimla ki chita goma mono tu parsha. By this virtue, having realized Mahamudra, may have quickly established all beings without a single exception in this state. By the blessing of the three bodies of the Buddha being accomplished, by the blessing of the truth of the Dharma itself being unchanging, and by the blessing of the wishes of restless Sangha being unwavering, may this dedication prayer be fulfilled. May all the lamas have long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. And may all their wishes be fulfilled. May all beings be happy, free of suffering, established in bliss and equanimity. Vichiche, mahalo, thank you very much. Aloha in Zoom land. all you lovely Bodhisattvas tuning in tonight, Raja brothers and sisters. Hey Maho,